What's up, YouTube? It is your boy JB, and I am here today with a review for the haves and the have-nots. This is season 7, episode number 13, which was titled Fine Together. So, you guys, without further ado, let's go ahead and just jump into this episode review, shall we? All right, you guys. So this episode, it picks up where last week's episode ended. And you guys remember Uncle Vinny, him, Sandy, and the rest of the family went down to the jail to get Mama Rose out of jail. And the one cop was telling him that they're gonna have to wait until processing till the judge comes in the next day. And you guys remember Uncle Vinny, he shot the cop in the precinct, which I was thinking then and still thinking now that was not the smartest move you could ever make, is to shoot a cop in a precinct. You're lucky that they didn't come out there with guns blazing shooting you. So, the cops, one of them comes out and he notices that it's, Vinny, and he has his gun drawn, but then he puts his gun down. Then the other cops come out and they're trying to, check on the cop that got shot. Uncle Vinny says that, the kid shot himself. So this is suicide. This is just like the alleged suicide on the Oval of Yuma and Max. Since when have people who try to commit suicide do things like that? Max and Yuma had bullets in their body. Well, they weren't trying to commit suicide. That was a lover's quarrel gone bad. But both Max and Yuma had bullets in each other. And now this cop has a bullet in the skull. That's suicide. Suicide. But okay, I'm not gonna harp on it too hard. Whatever. So Sandy, however, is uneasy, but Uncle Vinny is still worried about getting Mama Rose out of the jail. I'm just like, okay, cool. So then, speaking of Mama Rose, her and Catherine, they overheard the gunshots, and Mama Rose like, my boys must be here. Huh. Okay. So then, Catherine, she's talking about, she's still worried about Wyatt. I don't know why, but whatever. So Mama Rose is like, well, you know what? I can find out about your boy for you. She's like, no, thank you. And then, Mama Rose is trying to judge Catherine because Wyatt stabbed Uncle Vinny. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I thought Wyatt shot Uncle Vinny. Correct me in the comment section if I'm wrong about that, but I thought he shot him. So then Mama Rose asks her, like, how can you raise a son like, that with a drug problem? And then he goes into a bar and stabs my son. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, Mama Rose, you are the last person to judge anybody's parenting skills. Your son just shot a cop in a police precinct. Who's worse? Actually, it's still Wyatt. But Uncle Vinny is a close second. So then, Mama Rose and Catherine go back and forth. She got her gray-haired bitch. I mean, Catherine just not backing down on Mama Rose, and I'm actually here. I'm really here for it. Like, I'm like, okay, Catherine, show her that you are that bitch. And then, Mama Rose also asked, did you know that your father worked closely with my mother? She said, no, I did not know that. She said, yeah, they didn't, they worked real close together. Not like that, but they worked close with each other. At one point, Mama Rose said she didn't like Catherine, but then she turned around and said, you know what? Scratch that. I think I do like you. Let's move on, you guys. All right, you guys. Next, let's discuss Wyatt. So, you guys, Wyatt is still in his hospital bed. I don't know where his guard is, by the way. I guess the guard is still gone with the other nurse to get some coffee. So, Wyatt is calling for the nurses. No one is coming. Then he says, do you bitches hear me? I'm like, damn. The disrespect, because they're not coming when you call their bitches now. So then one of them does come in and he tells her that he needs to pee. She's like, well, there's a bedpan right there, and then there's a little, one of those little jugs on the side. He says, I'm in pain. And she's like, we can't give you any meds. So he says, well, can you get the little bedpan for me? She was like, really? But she got it for him. I'm like, you better than me. So then as she goes to get the thing for him, he slips a pen out of her pocket and sticks it under him, under the cover that he's on, the bed sheet. And so when she leaves out, he takes the pen apart and he picks the handcuffs and gets free. And I'm just sitting here thinking to myself, so where the fuck did she go that she didn't see him walk out of his room? And where the hell, I mean, God, the incompetence, the incompetence, the incompetence. The guard is incompetent. The hospital staff is incompetent. This is someone who is a prisoner, but y'all don't have close watch on him. And he's able to get out. Cool. So then we later see Wyatt, and Wyatt has ran all the way home in his hospital again, and I'm still like, wow, so nobody noticed a man in a hospital gown running. And that's not suspicious. Okay. So then, we see Wyatt, he breaks into the house, and he sets the alarm off. So, he's trying to put in PIN code, but it didn't go through. So then, I guess someone from the alarm company called, asked him what the security code was. He says Amanda. He says all kind of things. And the guy's like, the cops are on their way. He's like, no. I'm like, you dumbass. So then we see Wyatt, he runs upstairs, he changes some clothes, and then he goes into Catherine's closet and he starts stealing jewelry. I'm like, Wyatt, he just told you that the cops are on the way. Now, when it comes to an alarm break-in, the cops are pretty quick to get there. Like, very quick to get there. And trust me, I know that from experience. Know that one from experience. I think, when I was like 8 or 9 years old, nobody broke into my mom's and I's house. I think it was a sensor that got tripped by a bug. That's what they told us. It was a bug that flew by one of our sensors and set it off, and the alarm went off. And by the time we got home, the cops were there. So it doesn't take, in my hometown, I guess because my hometown is small, so it didn't take them no time to get there, because we didn't live too far from the police station. So, okay. So I'm gonna give, and even in this town with these police, they're incompetent. So it'll take them a while to get there. But I'm just sitting there looking at Wyatt. I'm like, Wyatt, dude, you are wasting time. But if that's what you want to do, Wyatt, go for it. But then he ends up leaving and he takes one of the cars. So then at the hospital, one of the cops go to, see Jim, and Jim is a complete asshole to the cop. I'm like, Jim, this cop is here to talk to you, and he's been an asshole. But the cop tells him that there was a break-in. And Jim proves to me what a racist he is, because he's thinking as someone who works at the hotel that's black. Who? There's something in my eye. Who was he talking? Was he talking about Rome Flynn's character? I can't remember what his character's name was, because that's the only black person that worked at the hotel that I can think of right now. I think that's what he was talking about, but goddamn, is he racist. But he says, what, there are cameras in the house. So he looks at the cameras and he sees that it's Wyatt. He says, is my son still in police custody? He's like, the cop is like, yes. And then he shows him the footage. So how is my son in police custody, but he's on this camera? That's because the cops, again, in this town are incompetent. Hell, it look like even the nurses are incompetent. I'm just sorry. How did that nurse... He snuck out right behind her. Unless you want to saw another patient, which is possible. But even still, with the nurses, there's always like one nurse at the nurses station. Whatever. We're gonna move on. So then, Jim calls David, and he's asking him for a favor. What he wants for David to do is to go over to the house and check out the damage. And like the good old boy David is, he says, yes, massa. Let's move on. All right, you guys. In this next scene, they kind of could have kept this scene for me. I'm just going to keep it real with you. So we see Madison. Madison is going home. Who's outside of Madison's apartment? Justin is. So Justin is telling Madison that his brothers have come and he just needs someone to talk to. And Madison says, find a therapist. And then Justin says, but I don't want a therapist. I want to talk to you. Madison says, I can't help you. You need to find a therapist. He says, no, I want to talk to you. You're the only person that I trust. right now. No, you need to find a therapist. Are they 7? I feel like they're 7. They're saying, I want to talk to you. You need to see a therapist. I want to talk to you. You need to see a therapist. I want to talk to you. Okay? But yeah, Justin asked Madison, can he come in? Madison says, no, you cannot come in. So then Justin tells him he'll kill himself because he hates himself for being gay. Well, that sounds like a bit of a personal problem, buddy, doesn't it? I mean, I'm just, no. Yeah, no. Okay, yeah. I do understand it to an extent. I definitely do understand it. Justin feels comfortable with talking to Madison because Madison is also gay. And, you know, it would be comfortable talking to someone else who understands what you're going through. But there's a but in that situation because of the shit that Justin has done to both Madison and Jeffrey. And speaking of Jeffrey, the phone rings and, you know, he asks, is it Jeffrey? If it is, I'm okay with that. Madison's like, I don't care if you're okay with it or not. So then Madison goes into his apartment. He calls Jeffrey and he tells him Justin is there and that he wants to talk. Now, Jeffrey tells him, like, he's up to something and you shouldn't trust him. He says, yeah, I know about that. He says, do you have a gun? He says, no, I don't have a gun. And Jeffrey says, well, I'm coming over. And then we see Jeffrey as he's leaving his house. David is still downstairs. And, you know, he tells, David that he's going to go stay with Madison. Now, David is in a bit of a funk. Not Madison, but Jeffrey thought it was because of, Madison. He says, do you think I'm moving too fast? He says, are you using condoms? He says, yes, Dad, we're using condoms. He says, but that's not what it is. He says that lady outside, Alyssa, he's stuck on her because she showed him the video of Erica and Erica apologized. They're going to end up screwing Alyssa. So we do see that Alyssa finally got her ass out that fountain. But she's standing she's standing in the street. I'm like, girl, you are so stupid and desperate. Just like, we'll talk about that in a little bit. So David tells her, he tells Leo to go get her and bring her inside. So he does bring her inside and she's still trying to push up on him. He says, you know what, let's go for a ride. She says, oh, you want to go for a ride on the couch? He says, no, let's go for a ride. And he asks her, what are you doing anyway? She says she wants to take Erica's place. I'm like, oh God, is she crazy? Let's move on. All right, you guys, and then let's wrap this episode up. So we see Mitch and Candace. They go back to, Benny and Hannah's house. No Hannah. And Benny comes out and asks them, where is she? Like, is she okay? Candace is like, yep, she's okay. He said, so what did they do? She said they did what they had to do. And, Benny tells Candace that he's going to go find Derek. I'm like, oh my God. Benny is like a dog with a bone. Benny is annoying. It's so funny, the parallels between his Tyler's two characters. Benny is an idiot, and Diamond, everybody loves Diamond, but Benny is so fucking annoying. So Candace, she does eventually tell Mitch, everything that is going on, that, Derek is her father, and that, Hannah was raped by him. She didn't know it at the time until she saw that tattoo on his chest. And, Mitch asked her, what is his name? She said, Derek David. So then she also finds out that her, she got bumped for her flight. And, she needs to get in there to get her stuff. So Hannah shows up. So, Candace says, hey, Hannah, can I come inside? Hannah says, girl, you are not coming in here. And she's like, I need to get my stuff. Hannah, again, Candace, you're not coming inside. So then, I'm going to cut this short because they went back and forth for a few minutes about that. So then Hannah got a phone call about the break-in at the Criers and that they need someone to talk to. And she said, well, Jim, he's in the hospital as well, but I'll be right over there. So then we see Benny. So Benny goes over to Veronica's and, he is once again asking her about Derek. And she says, what did he do to your mama? Did he hit her? You hood rats like that. Hit me, daddy, beat me, dad. I'm like, Veronica, you don't look too far from a hood rat. So for you to keep judging people, you don't look too far removed from hood rats. So she tells him, like, if I help you, you got to take care of me. And what she meant by that is she wants to fuck. So that, she's pushing all up on him. And then David walks in and he's asking who is Alyssa. She says, I don't know who that woman is. From the looks of it, she looks like somebody who needs a facial, a bath, and some antibiotics. And even that don't look like it's going to treat everything. So he says, Veronica, who is this? She says, I don't know who the bitch is. Bitch, who are you? I'm like, see, I would have slapped the shit out of hauled off and slapped the shit out of Veronica with her calling that girl a bitch. So David ends up leaving Alyssa there, and Alyssa just in there watching Veronica and Benny. I'm like, girl, why? He just left you. I was actually with Veronica. I actually said it before Veronica. I'm like, girl, why are you still standing in the living room? He left you. So I'd be like, damn, he brought me here and he just leaves me here? That's going to be my cue to exit stage left. But nope, she's just standing there. But then she eventually figured out who Veronica was. So Benny's getting ready to leave, and Alyssa says, well, can you give me a ride? He says, no. She says, I know someone, whoever you're looking for, I can help you find. He says, how? She says, I have a friend named Raj that's at the bar. He was like, okay, let's go meet him. She says it's a she. So they go down to the bar and they ask Raj, if she knows Derek. Now Raj wanted something in return, but Alyssa got her to back down, and she tells her the last bit of information that she knows about him. And then Mitch calls and tells him that he found more information out about Derek. And so Alyssa, she's telling Benny that if he needs anything to let her know, he's like, and she's talking sexually. He told her, girl, you've been thirsty. And I'm like, thank you. Somebody finally said that she's been thirsty. So then to close the episode, Hannah, she shows up at the criers, and the cops that were there, they were being like two fucking assholes. And, they tell her that, they have a suspect in question, and can she name that suspect? Does she know everybody around? Can she identify the person? She says, sure. So she walks into the house, and who is in there but Derek? And I'm just thinking to myself, Derek is not the one that, did this. And then also, Jim just showed another one of your cops that it was Wyatt. So why do y'all have Derek? Never mind. Maybe Derek was there after. No. Because here's the thing that's bothering me. I'm going to leave it alone. I'm going to leave it be. That's it, you guys, for this episode review of The Haves and Have-Nots. Be sure to like this video, leave your comments, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell notification button so you guys are aware of when I drop anything else. Share this video, and until the next one, you guys, do me a solid favor. Take care of yourselves. Stay safe out there. Stay hydrated. And I will see you guys later.